go. Go. Chairs. Nina Moody. Family. Disdain. Okay, then it goes into the meal. Then into the drug den. Okay, disappear drug addicts, then it's the change. You stay there, Martin and Andrew stay there. It's the begging. Then it goes into the restaurant. Oh, bed, then it's the bed. Bed, it's bed, yeah. Whisk to the bed. Then into the restaurant. Then into the garage. Okay.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Unleashed Community Drama. So, guys, well done. We were having a little throwback Thursday to that was a sketch that we were working on for Under One Roof. Oh my goodness, Under One Roof 2, I think. No, 1 it was. No, 2. It was definitely 2. And guys, we next week we're going to be looking at how to write possibly a drama that's set to a song. So the reason why I showed that was just to give you a heads up. We're going to show the actual thing that we did on Unleashed, Under One Roof 2 next week. We'll show the finished thing. So we're going to carry on with duologues. We've got a really packed morning for you this morning. People are still writing duologues. Here we go. Write a duologue challenge. That's still happening. We've got a really fantastic one for you this morning. Really fab one. So we're going to go into, first of all, our warm-up. And hopefully, guys, you're going to enjoy the morning. Got a great special guest, which is really good. So we've got lots of fab stuff happening. So here we go. I'm going to just line this up. Just line this up now. Here we go.
Hey, well, here we are, and today it is very small and bijou. We put the invitation out to quite a few people. There are quite a few people who, because obviously this is pre-recorded the day before, down the shops on the beach, looking after grandchildren. So that's it. But can I say it's really nice to have Mark Allport here. Mark, bless you. Welcome. Mark is here, courtesy of Unleashed. On one of the Unleashed iPads. So this is great.
Well, yeah, bring it on.
So it means you'll be able to do some drama with us as well. Nick, nice to have you, mate. Mr. Reliable, always reliable. And Karen, she's been in the sea, haven't you? Been swimming today. There's young John with his good star from Mid Millennium Mistress. And of course, Mr. Poetry himself, Tootle. So, guys, welcome. What we're going to do today is this is to start off and kick off club. We've got a couple of activities. We're going to do a bit of a game, but we're going to go around very briefly. One word, like we normally do. One word, your name, and then a word that sums up your mood, your present state of mind. Okay. So let's go around. Mark, we'll start with you, Mark Tootle.
Right, Mark, productive.
This is good. I think you've been in the garden, haven't you, mate? Because you're looking pretty brown.
Yeah, I've been giving me bush a good seeing soon.
Hey! Boom, boom. And it's not even Christmas or panto season yet, but you're getting ready for it, mate. Well done. Okay. John Aggies, lovely to have you here, mate, again. Last week.
Pardon?
From your success last week with your voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
Your name and one word, mate.
John, Tired.
John Tired. Okay, this is good. Sharon, lovely Sharon, the only female we've got here today. Emma's got a headache. There's quite a few other people not well today. Josie's looking after kids. Margie's away. How are you then, Sharon?
I'm Sharon. I'm feeling angry today.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Why? Why angry?
I just confronted a resident racism.
I hope you were sticking up. I hope you were sticking up. Good.
Yeah, of course I'll. Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
It's for you, Sharon. Nice one.
Mark Allport, for the first time, Zoom
Bring it on.
version.
Mark, and I feel privileged.
Good man.
Well done.
Nice to see you, mate.
Thank you all.
Calvin, you're late.
You're late,
Oh,
Cal. What you
apologise.
think? Yes, me.
I accept whatever punishment is due to me.
Calvin, late. All right, I'll do it for you. Right.
Naughty boys list for Calvin.
No, it's nice to have you here, mate. Seriously, it's good to have one of the team. It's all good. So, guys, what we're going to do, very, very
Are
briefly.
you gonna? Oh right, come on.
What were you going to say,
haven't
Calvin?
started yet.
We have, yeah, well, we have started. We're recording. You've come in late, mate, in the middle of a recording. So come on. Have you got?
Are you gonna ask how I am in one word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, go on then.
Calvin, late.
All right, that'll do.
No, how are you, mate?
Challenged.
Challenge.
Oh gosh, you haven't been making inappropriate comments, and they ended up in the chokey again.
Not for that reason. Not for that reason.
Okay, right. It's Penny got the whip out. Or should I not laugh? Oh, challenge. Oh, bless you. Are you okay? Seriously, you okay?
Yes.
Good. Good.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Well, it's nice to have you here. Seriously. Guys, so we're going to go around, we are today. We're going to be thinking about rethink. Okay. The BBC this week, the BBC this week, they are doing a whole series on things called Rethink, which is basically that, with the great pause, what would you do when we come up and we're easing out and we're back to the new normal that's different to what you did before with the lockdown? So, guys, what we're thinking here is just any thoughts. What would you do different? Nick, May, what about you?
What would I do differently?
Yeah.
I would, not watch as much telly. And when this lockdown's over, I'm hoping to have my licence back and a new car, so I can get up a bit further afield and, just do things I haven't done before. Not take things for granted, because it has been hard, this lockdown. Yeah, I'm boredom setting, so I just want to go and travel.
Good man.
I just want to get myself set up, really.
Well, good man.
Not stress myself out.
No, that's good.
Carry on with my volunteer.
That's good. Carrying on with your volunteering.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's really good, Nick. Well done, mate. Mark Tootle.
I just keep things simple, not overthink things. Because normally I'm here, there and everywhere, but, we're not doing anything for a while. Life's still gone on, life's ticking over. So just keep it simple and chill and go with the flow.
That's good.
So you get hyped up.
That sounds good, mate. Sharon. Lovely Sharon, you.
Well, I've been doing loads of things. I've had no time at all to take life simply. I've been doing online art courses. I'm doing a Frida Kahlo session on tomorrow night. So I will do more of that. I will stand up to racism more. I'm glad I did today, so I shall do it again.
Good for you. Go, girl.
Yeah, and look after myself.
That's good.
Not do things that people want me to do so much.
That sounds positive. A real positive that's come out of it. John, what about you, mate? Because I know you found it quite tough, haven't you? To be fair, the lockdown.
Yeah, I find it hard. I think maybe I'd try and think of ways to make it easier for people in the future if anything like this was to happen again. Like in my lifetime, when if it does happen in my lifetime, then I could say, look, these are good strategies to people who didn't live through this. When, if it were to happen again, which obviously we all hope it won't, because it's,
But is there that's a good thought. But is there something you personally think would change or make us a difference when that you used to do that you would do differently when we come out?
I don't know, maybe appreciate things more. I feel like I did before, but I think maybe you do even more after something like this.
I think that's very, very good. Very true, John. That's a very receptive thought. Yeah, totally. I'll tell you, birdsong. Oh my gosh, I've really got into birdsong, because no vehicles and no traffic. My goodness, I've got a little app. I'm learning all the birdsong so I can identify them. Loving it. That's good, John. Thank you, mate. John Allport. Mark Allport.
To be more self-aware of looking after myself more, eating healthier, more exercise, and more of an healthy lifestyle.
Sounds good, mate.
That's what I do different.
That's good. Yeah, good, because you just got into Jatis, mate, and big respect for you, mate. It sounds like it's going really well. That's really fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's better this time round.
Good man.
I felt more comfortable and relaxed this time.
Yeah, good man. That's great. Calvin, lovely Calvin. I know you're late, but we'll let you off the hook.
Oh, good. So I get 15 minutes slot at this stage, do I? No, I would say there's a mixture of thoughts. Most important one is spending more time and giving more time to neighbours. Because in the past, I think we've tended to rush around and, when you leave your house to go to, say, at the club on Thursday mornings, you're late. Well, if I left earlier and I saw a neighbour, instead of avoiding them, keep your head down, actually engage with them. I think we miss out a lot by not engaging with neighbours. The other thought is keeping Sunday special. I know that sounds a bit old school, but for 6 days we see what profit we can extract from the land, as it were. But I think that 7th day is all about nurturing the seed in your soul. I think those aren't my words, of course, but I think it's really healthy for us.
Yeah.
To have that set aside one day where we don't do anything that we would have done in the other 6 days. That's a thought.
I'll tell you, Calvin, that's a really good thought. And I think a lot of people have come around to thinking that actually this opportunity to stop and pause, it does make you reevaluate and realise actually the need to replenish, refresh, to just stop and pause and smell the coffee.
Smell the roses.
And the roses. The coffee and the roses, exactly. Totally, really, really. Those are all really good thoughts. Guys, what we're going to do now, a bit of fun, just very, very quickly. We're going to go round and have a quick game. I know we're sort of short in numbers because it's not that we're going to get more people on. I know there's a lot of people who can't be here this week on Zoom. But we're going to go round, and on my screen, can I just check with you? I've got Mark Tootle, then below him Nick. Then I've got Sharon, and below Sharon, Calvin, and then I've got John, and then I've got Mark Allport. Because we're going to go around, we're going to go over the alphabet. So you're going to start with an A, and you've got to say a name, where you're from, and a product, all beginning with that letter in the alphabet. We're going to go through the whole alphabet. So Mark, we're going to start with you. A.
All right, I'm Aaron from Alabama, selling aardvarks.
Nick, B.
I'm Bruce from Bulgaria, selling bricks.
Good man. Sharon C.
I'm Caroline from Carolina, selling carol books.
Ah,
Calvin D.
oh dear. I'm Donald from Dallas,
No!
selling
Dreadful values.
Dumb ideas.
Dumb ideas. Yes. Okay, John E.
I'm Edward from places beginning with E.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, obvious. Selling engines.
Good book, man. Okay, Mark F.
I'm Frank from Frankfurt, selling Frankfurters.
Yeah, that's an
I'm
easy
G.
one.
Bring it on.
I'm Gary. I'm Gary from Greece, selling Greece. Okay, Mark H.
I'm Harry from Holland selling hot dogs.
Nick I. You're hiding, mate. Can't see your lovely face.
Right, I'm Ian from Iceland, selling igloos.
Good man. Karen J.
I'm Jamila from Jamaica, selling Jaffa cakes.
Calvin K.
Okay, I'm Catherine from Catalonia, selling Catherine wheels.
John L.
I'm Linda.
Linda.
I'm Linda from Lynmouth, selling limestone.
Lovely. Mark
On you.
M.
I'm Mark, and I've come from Market Drayton, and I'm selling market stores.
I think you could say markers. Right, N. I'm Neville from Nevada, selling nail polish. Mark O.
I'm Oliver from Ontario selling oranges.
Okay, Nick P.
I'm Peter from Philadelphia, selling cream.
Good man. Sharon Q. Q.
I'm Queenie from Quebec, selling quinces.
Very good.
Very
Calvin
good.
R. Calvin R.
I'm Rachel from Rotterdam, selling rotten eggs.
Okay, John S.
S. Okay. I'm Simon from Syria.
Syria.
Selling
Syringes.
I guess so. I don't know.
Mark T. Mark Allport T.
T. I'm Trevor from Tavistock, selling tractors.
Good. I'm you. I'm Ulysses from United Kingdom, selling United Kingdom flags. Mark V.
I'm Vincent from Venezuela selling vermicelli.
Very good. Nick W.
I'm Winston from West Yorkshire, selling Wellington boots.
Good man. Right, Sharon X.
You have done this on purpose, Paul.
Yeah.
It's because you're so good, Sharon.
I'm Xavier from, I think you can spell Xanthi with an X.
Xanadu. Xanadu?
Xanadu. Yeah.
So, yeah, selling xylophones.
Very good. Calvin, why?
Well, of course, I'm Yvonne
Of course.
from
Only a weekend, presumably.
The shirt that does it.
from what begins with a Y? York.
York.
Yvonne from York selling Yorkies.
Yorkie bars.
Yorkie
Okay.
bars.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give this one to Mark Allport as he's his first time here. So, Mark, you've got the final one, Z.
Z. My name is Zafran. I come from Zanzibar and I sell zoo animals.
Zoo animals, good man. Well, guys, well done. Well done. Listen, Nick's dropped off, so I don't know where he's gone. But listen, guys, well done. So we're going to carry on with the club now. Lovely to see you. Next week, we're going to try and get a whole posse on. So we'll get the email out. I was very amiss getting the email out early enough this week. So anyway, we're going to carry on with the club. But guys, nice to see you live, and especially you, Mark Allport. Lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, that's fun. So we did that yesterday. Guys, we'll try and get as many people as possible onto Zoom so that, we can actually, get you doing drama, but also just so we can play some games and have a bit of fun, what have you. Now, guys, we've got a bit of a treat. Duologue challenge. My goodness, there are some people writing some really fab stuff. I've had quite a few sent to me, actually, to be fair. And I know the lovely Laura. Hi, Laura. She sent me a really fab one. Really quite dark, but, and really personal. But we're going to hopefully have that on. She's just looking at it at the moment. But Alexa and John, they have written a really good duologue. And I don't know whether, guys, you've been watching. It's really worth your watching on a Tuesday. Well, it's different nights, but they've re-recorded a lot of Alan Bennett's Talking Heads, and there's a few new ones. You can see them all on iPlayer, one straight after the other. There was one the other night, Tuesday night with Sarah Lancashire. My goodness, so good. All monologues. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be coming back to that. And of course, we have the maestro of monologues. So maestro of monologues, who's looking after our poetry corner. But we are going to be, we're going to be setting as a challenge to write a monologue. So part of your homework is to watch the Talking Heads, Alan Bennett. My goodness, he is the master of monologues. Really clever stuff. Really, really clever stuff. But we're going to watch this now. We're going to watch John and Alexa's duologue, which is fab. Here we go.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
What, nothing at all?
Does it look like I'm doing anything?
No.
Well, there you go then.
So what do you want to do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yep.
You must want to do something.
Why?
Well, it's natural, isn't it, to want to do something?
Why?
Just is.
Right. Like what?
I don't know. What do people normally want to do?
I like watching DVDs.
See? Do you want to do something?
Yes, but I don't want to watch DVDs right now.
Why not?
Because I've been watching DVDs all morning. I'm bored of watching DVDs.
Well, then why'd you say you like watching them?
I do like watching DVDs, just not all the time.
See, I know what this is.
You know what is?
This.
What?
This.
What?
This. It's a lockdown fever.
I haven't got a fever, but I haven't got persistent cough either, before you ask.
a fever. You know, like cabin fever.
What makes cabin fever?
Oh, you know, when you're in a cabin.
Yeah, but we're not in a cabin.
No, but people stuck in cabins get cabin fever.
Why would people be stuck in cabins?
No, like on a boat.
We've never been on a boat.
No, not you, but people.
What people?
People that go on boats.
What are you talking? I've no idea what you're talking about.
Here, I tell you what people want to do.
What?
Every single person wants to do this. Everyone, anytime, anywhere. Well, maybe not anywhere, but they all want to do it.
What?
Guess.
No.
Oh, go on, guess.
No.
Oh, will you just guess?
Just tell me.
They want to go to the toilet.
What?
They want to go to the toilet.
What?
They do. Everyone does. You do, I do, we all do.
You're weird, you are.
It's true, though.
No, it isn't actually. No one wants to go to the toilet.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They might need to go to the toilet. Everyone needs to go to the toilet, but needing and wanting, two very different things.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
All right, then prove it.
Prove it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to prove it. They just are. End of.
If you won't prove it, means you can't.
Does not.
Does.
Does not.
Does.
All right. I will prove it. You need food to survive, but you want fish and chips because they're nice.
Well, food's nice too, so you must want it.
Yes, obviously you want it, but you also need it, but you don't need fish and chips. You need food.
Well, I need fish and chips.
No, you don't.
Well, I might not need the fish, but I definitely need the chips.
You don't. No one needs chips.
Speak for yourself.
I will.
Good. So you don't want to go to the toilet then?
No.
Here. What do you think about the post office exploding?
What?
The post office had exploded.
Which post office?
Our post office up the road.
Our post office? In the village?
Yeah.
Boom. When did this happen?
Last night.
Last night? Why didn't you tell me before?
I thought you'd know.
Well, I didn't. What happened?
Post office blew up.
Yeah, but how?
Something must have exploded, I suppose.
Yeah, but what? A post office doesn't explode for no good reason.
Might have been a gas leak. The police are investigating, the paper says.
I didn't know you read the paper.
I don't. I heard it on the radio.
Was anyone injured?
Like I say, it was at night.
But how come we didn't hear anything?
Like what?
Like a big bang. It's only just up the road.
Well, like I say, it was night. We were probably asleep.
I mean, I reckon a big bang, like the village post office exploding, might have woken us up, though. Don't you?
Well, maybe it exploded really quietly.
Right. So are they going to rebuild it?
Too soon to say. They're still trying to track down all the stuff.
What stuff?
Oh, you know, like the stamps and the post bag and the counter. The place was blitzed.
Sounds like it.
They did find the stool, though. You know, that tall one Miss Bickley sits on at the till.
Where was it?
About half a mile away.
Half a mile?
Yeah. In a field. Under a sheep.
Blimey.
Yeah. That's what the sheep said. But it gave Molly a right good laugh, though.
Why?
Oh, Molly can't stand Miss Bickley. Not since she tried to post a squirrel and Miss Bickley wouldn't sell her stamp.
Right. Well, after that, I think I need the toilet.
I told you you wanted to go to the toilet.
No, I don't want to go to the toilet. I need to... Oh, never mind.
Anyway, I shouldn't bother.
Why?
You won't be able to get in.
Why wouldn't I be able to get in?
Molly's in there. She's been in there since breakfast.
Since breakfast? Are you joking me? Why's she been in there since breakfast?
Hard to say. Reading, I think.
Oh. I don't know. Reading what?
I don't know. Chemistry or something. It's usually chemistry she's reading. Don't know what she sees in it myself. I tried to read some once, but she told me I was holding the book the wrong way up.
Are you seriously telling me Molly's been in there in the toilet since breakfast reading a chemistry book?
Yeah. She's really into all that stuff. Have you been in her room? Full of test tubes.
She won't let me in her room. How come you've been in her room?
I was looking for a clean plate.
Hang on. Full of test tubes?
Yep.
Bit weird, isn't it?
I don't know.
Come to think of it, sometimes I walk past her room and there's a really funny smell.
Yeah, I've noticed that, yeah.
So what do you think she does? She's doing in there, experiments in there, is she? Doing?
Could be. Wouldn't surprise me. She told me once she couldn't open a tin of pilchers, so she blew it up.
Molly blew up a tin of pilchards. Who does that?
She was hungry.
Yeah, but who blows up a tin of pilchards because they're hungry?
Molly says she's blown up lots of things.
Right.
Yeah, if something upsets her, poof.
And would that just be little things or big things as well?
Oh, little and big, probably. Like I say, she's got lots of test tubes.
So, about the post office, you said the police are investigating.
Apparently so. Probably knocking on doors as we speak.
And Molly's locked herself in the toilet.
Yeah, she just won't come out. Funny that.
Yeah. Funny.
Isn't that fab? Oh my goodness, it's so fab. What I love about it, it's got a real storyline to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, was it Molly who blew up the post office? Really clever, really, really clever. So anyway, guys, without much further ado, we now are moving on to our specialist subject quiz. So if you want to do a quiz, here we go. We have a new quiz master today, which is fab. So I'm gonna just put this on, and then you need to get out your pens and papers, because today's quiz is a quirky quiz.
Well, welcome everybody to one of the highlights of the show. This intellectual examination, this search for the brain of Britain, or is it just a bit of fun? So, in fact, today's topic is, you could call it fun stuff. So no particular theme, and everybody can have a go and expect to get one of the two of the answers. So get pen and paper poised, but please, when I give the questions, please don't write the answers down the right-hand side, because it will make it too easy for today's maestro. So here we are. These are the questions. Fun stuff, remember? Here's the first question. I'll just get my glasses on. What is the collective noun for a group of unicorns? 2. Who invented the word vomit? 3. This is a fun one. The UK's Dyslexia Research Trust is based in which British city? 4. Who entered a contest to find his own lookalike and only came third? 5th. Philip Schofield, Jason Donovan and Donny Osmond have all played the starring role in which stage musical? We're on question 6. In November 1952, that's a few years before I was born, which Agatha Christie murder mystery play opened at the Ambassadors Theatre and is now the longest running play in the UK? 7. Number 7. What is the name of the famous theatrical club founded in 1883, that's also before I was born, at the University of Cambridge, which boasts former members such as David Baddiel, Olivia Colman and John Cleese? 3 more. 8. A reconstruction of which theatre opened in 1997, approximately 750 feet from the site of the original theatre, which was demolished in 1644. Again, a tad before I was born. Number 9, more modern. Which musical comedy is adapted from the 1975 film Monty Python and the Holy Grail? And the final question, 10. Which musical is based on a 1995 Gregory Maguire novel, which has an alternative telling of The Wizard of Oz? So there we go. I'm going to hand over back to Martin. Let's get back down to business and let today's contestant be revealed. Martin.
Okay, Calvin, thank you for that. Right, we're going to get Calvin on the phone because, believe it or not, Calvin is the one with the answers. He's going to be our answer maestro today. So guys, I hope you were able to do all of that. Pretty fun quiz, wasn't it? So we're going to get Calvin. We're going to get Calvin on the phone now, and we're going to find out what these answers are. So here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Calvin! Calvin, are you there?
I'm here.
Calvin, you're gonna have to turn your. We can hear the live program in the background, mate.
What do you want me to do? I'll go somewhere else then.
Yeah, just go somewhere else because we're getting a little bit of feedback. But it's good to have you. Look, can you see a little avatar here? Little avatar is here. So Calvin, right, we're going to go through the answers now, guys. See how many of these you've got, so you can win. Okay, so Calvin, thank you for doing that. What is the collective noun of a group of unicorns?
I think it must be a lance of unicorns. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because lances are pointy things, and so a unicorn's horns are pointy. So a lance of unicorns, that would be correct.
That's not true, Calvin. You're meant to be giving us the correct answers.
What's the correct answer?
A blessing. A blessing.
Of course I knew that.
A blessing of unicorns. Did you know that? And is that like a murder of rooks or something like that, isn't it? Right, okay. Who invented the word vomit?
Vomit. I've got 2 answers to this, and I'm not sure which one's the correct one. I know that in Roman times, in their wonderful palaces, they had a room called the vomitorium. So that could be, one answer could be the Romans, but you know, there's a brand of beer called Theakston's Old Peculiar, And when your one is engaged in vomiting, you feel peculiar. So I think it must be Mr. Theakston who invented the beer. Is that correct?
No, it's not, Calvin. It's Shakespeare. Shakespeare actually invented the word vomit, believe it or not. That's the first place in which it actually appears in English literature. So who invented the word vomit? William Shakespeare. Okay.
Okay, I'm sure to do better from now on.
You're doing a bit rubbish. So not only were you late for the opening, but you're also getting all the wrong answers, Calvin. This is great.
I'm doing my best. It's only fun stuff, don't forget.
Okay. The UK's Dyslexia Research Trust is based in which British city? Now, this is funny, this.
Dyslexia. I think this is to do with literacy and culture. Which is the centre of culture in the UK? If it's not Milton Keynes.
No! Believe it or not, the UK's Dyslexia Research Trust, and this is true, is based in Reading. Reading.
That's hilarious.
Reading.
That's
Reading.
hilarious.
Spelt reading. True. Okay, who entered a contest to find his own lookalike and came third?
I know this.
Okay.
Mr. Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, well done. Good man.
Unbelievable. He must have been so surprised.
I know. Well, it's like that Adele lookalikey thing with Graham Norton, where she went and with all these other looky-likeys, and they did her up so she looked slightly different with a prosthetic nose, and then she sang, and it was actually the real Adele. Really good. Right. Question 5. Philip Schofield, Jason Donovan, and Donny Osmond have all played the starring role in which stage musical?
It's not one of my favourites, but I'm sure it is Joseph.
It is. And we did a little bit of that in the Millennium Mysteries. We sent it up. Yeah. Question 6. So that was Joseph in his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Question 6. In November 1952, the Agatha Christie murder mystery play opened at the Ambassadors Theatre and is now the longest running play in the UK. What is
The Mousetrap?
The Mousetrap. It is. The Mousetrap. Absolutely.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. When I went and saw it in London, it was all Japanese people and me. Japanese tourists and me. Okay. What is the name of the famous theatrical club founded in 1883 at the University of Cambridge, which boasts former members such as David Baddiel, Olivia Colman, and John Cleese?
Well, Cleese is the clue, isn't it? So it's footsteps.
Footlights. The Footlights. Footlights.
I was close.
Yeah, close. I'll give you half a mark, Calvin. You're doing pretty pants at the moment, Calvin. How many have you got? 2.5. Okay. A reconstruction of which theatre opened in 1997, approximately 750 feet from the site of the original theatre, which was demolished in 1644, was, of course, the
Globe.
Shakespeare's The Globe.
Back to Mr. Shakespeare again.
Shakespeare's Globe. Oh, gosh, yeah, Shakespeare's Globe. Which musical comedy is adapted from the 1975 film Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Spamalot, yes. I'm not dead yet. Yes. The Knights who say no! And which musical is based on a 1995 Gregory Maguire novel, which is an alternative telling of The Wizard of Oz?
Wicked.
And what a wicked musical it is.
Wicked.
Calvin, well done. You didn't do very well there, mate, but thank you so much for presenting it. That was great. That was fab, even if your score was a bit pants. So how many did people get? You know, we need to see how many people got. I think, Calvin, you probably got about 4.5.
I wish to object. I know that the Romans had a vomitorium in their palaces.
Oh.
Where they used to did exactly that, because they used to have...
Where they used to vomitorium all over. And
that's what they did.
Oh, horrible.
They'd eat and eat and eat, and then they'd have to bring it all up.
That's disgusting.
In the vomitorium.
That's disgusting. Anyway, Calvin.
You need to... Yeah.
I need to what, sorry? I need to...
I think you need to check your sources of information.
What, you mean like Donald Trump? What, like Donald Trump's Twitter page? We need a fact checker. Anyway, mate, listen.
That's where I get...
Neil, 4 out of 10. Well done, mate. This is good. 6. Well done, Roz. This is great. All right, listen, we've got to crack on. We've got to get, I'll tell you, we've got to get on the phone. So, Calvin, thanks ever so much. We'll see you shortly, all right? Take care, mate. Bye then.
Lovely. Bye.
Right, we're going to get the lovely Mark Tootle on the phone, because Mark Tootle, Poetry Corner, has a poem for us, which is great. So guys, keep the poems coming. You know, we are building up a really a lovely tome of unleashed material, which we are going to, put together in a scrapbook at the end of this lockdown. And of course, we're easing up. So things are beginning to look like, it won't be long perhaps till we can all be together in real life. Right, Mark Tootle, here he is. Let's hear him. Where's Mark? It's Mark! Oh my goodness.
Hiya, Martin, you all right?
I'm good, mate. For a moment there, I thought we were going to have a repeat of like 4 weeks ago.
Oh, good grief, no, absolutely.
Were you in your garden?
Absolutely.
Trimming your bush again?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
But I won't go into details on health and safety grounds, all right?
Okay. All right, matey. So you got a poem for us, I believe. Is this true?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 2 poems for you today. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course, mate. I tell you, we love them. Everybody loves Mark's poems. So come on, chuck it to us.
Right then, the first one it's retrospectively. I wrote it when we were in the absolute lockdown situation. So I'll read it today just to reinforce the fact that things are actually getting better.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've called the poem Banged Up because we were locked down. And because companies are going a bit skint, I've subtitled it What Liquidity Ratio? And the poem goes like this. The economy has really shrunk. Businesses are going bust. What about the customers? Are the politicians really fussed? The major stores all have closed doors. I can't even send them a text. Debenhams, Hoopers and Primark. Whatever, next. My local fruit shop has closed down. Now I buy it here and there. I noticed the girl in front of me. She had a nice pair. Stopping the flow of construction when trying to build to perfection makes things rather difficult halfway through an erection. Inevitably, there are close signs at Costa, Cafe Nero and Coffee One. Is this really civilized when all's said and done? All this could last for ages. I use my computer from time to time. Never mind about the personal touch. I'll just have to go online. Okay, that's your first one, mate, yeah?
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
Right, now my second one here. This is about an elephant called Luigi. So it's simply entitled Luigi, and because he's an elephant, I've subtitled the poem Pachyderms Rule OK. So here is my elephant poem. It goes like this. An elephant known as Luigi cleaned the windows with his trunk and a squeegee. The neighbours all said, that looks easy. So he said, well, give it a go. What made Luigi madder was he couldn't climb right up his ladder. There was no room for his bucket. So he stood there, looked up and said, well, never mind. Not wanting to be defeated, the chat with the neighbours got heated. To allay all his vertigo fears, he hung on at the top with his ears. That's that one, mate. All right,
really
how we
good.
doing?
Really good, mate. They're really fun. I mean, what I love that I like that first one because it was sort of semi-serious, and then you chucked in a couple of pairs. Ooh. Which sort of took it back to we knew that this was one of Mark's,
Nice one. Yeah.
No, well done, mate. They're really great. They're really fab. So we're going to collate them all together in a scrapbook, and then we'll have a reading of a load of them. So
great. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right, matey. Well, listen. Nice to speak, and we will see you next week, but if not before. All right.
Absolutely. We'll catch up soon. Glad you enjoyed them.
All right. Yeah. Bless you. Okay. Take care.
Take care. Lad.
Bye, Mark.
Bye for now, mate. Bye.
Right. Now, guys, we have a real treat for you today because who is waving through the window? We have a really great interview with someone really special, and that is the lovely Ed Williams. So without further ado, I'm going to let him speak for himself. But Ed Williams he's been associated with Unleashed for many, many years, and he's a real legend. So you'll see why. Here we go. Okay.
Hi, Martin.
Well, today we have someone very special here, someone very dear to our hearts in the Unleashed family, and that is the lovely Ed Williams. Now, Ed, oh my goodness, mate, it's great to have you here on Club on Thursday morning. And Ed, you know, you've been involved with Unleashed for many years, and you've played loads of parts. You know, you played in our recent production, you played Nicky Cruz in Cross and Switchblade. You were one of the mechanicals in the Millennium Mysteries, which was written for us. You played the lead in Black Comedy, and you played loads of parts in like Under One Roof, One Roof 2, all the same. So you've pretty much been, you know, all over the stage with Unleashed, which is fab, which is really fab. So, but you are, you know, you're a really interesting guy, because for a lot of us, we look up to you, and you are a real inspiration to so many people, particularly me. And just tell us a little bit about what you do, because I don't think a lot of people know exactly what your job is. You are youth protection, you're homeless protection officer, aren't you, for Torbay Council? So
I'm a youth homeless prevention officer. I work somewhere halfway between housing and children's services, in preventing young people becoming homeless, 16 and 17-year-olds. Some 18-year-olds and care leavers, things like that, and working to identify whether or not the council owes them any duties, whether there's any help we can give them, and mainly doing a lot of work around mediating them and talking to their families and sitting down and you know and sorting out the differences between them and their parents. As many of us might know, teenagers aren't the best tenants, and parents often find that and kind of move towards eviction. And that's what we do. We do a lot of work on that, as well as educating young people and other professionals around the difficulties that these young people might face, and doing our best to keep them safe.
It's a really good job, isn't it? I mean, so you're actually preventing kids basically falling out with their parents to the point where actually it's become unresolvable and they end up on the streets. So, I mean, my goodness, you do an amazing job. But, I mean, you know, you've got such a lot of experience, because before that you worked at Leonard Stocks, didn't you? I mean, you know, you've had other jobs in the council, but you worked at Leonard Stocks as well. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about, you know, we're doing before, you know, as a job before this present post?
Well, I've got to be honest with you, Martin. One of the astounding things about my work is that I've done over the past few years. I literally come from a world of addiction and crime, and the first time I got on my knees and asked for a job, one literally came up within minutes, and I can't deny that. And I went into this job interview. Somebody said, in the church community said, if God wants you to have a job, you on the desk, turn up on your jeans and t-shirt, and you'll get it. So that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly why I got the job, because that's exactly what I did. Initially I worked in the commissioning team. I was seconded to them to people to go out talking to people, vulnerable people in the community, to find out what their views were on the changes that were happening to services about 10 years ago. After spending a couple of years there, it was a bit of a no-brainer. I felt really cool to go and work in the hostel. And I did a lot of outreach work with them, going out hunting down homeless people on the streets and having coffee with them. Make a lot of ground by sitting down with somebody and having a cup of coffee where they slept in the night. They make a lot of the progress themselves. I've moved from there to Schleier's job in community safety, where I was finding the most vulnerable and most chaotic people in society, and coming alongside them, and walking with them and identifying what needs to be done in their lives. If they needed that extra little step, give them that extra little step. If they needed to avoid prison and come out into the community, then we'd work with the courts to achieve that.
And then from there, I didn't really know where I literally came up at the right time again, and I didn't feel like I could do it. Felt like I was way in my head, and I probably was. And I found that just by going with that, I've really enjoyed it. And looking to where it's going to take me next, really. It's been a bit of a journey, but it seems to have revolved around definitely, a line that's been the same throughout every single job that I've been blessed with, and that I've been able to be a blessing to the community. And I think alongside that, Unleashed has really been a key part in that for me, because I haven't walked away from all my old friends and my old comrades, because they've all been the client group that I've been working with have been people that I identify with, people that that know me, and alongside that I've had my own journey, my own progress in my recovery to go with, and I've had to lean on something, and I think I've been blessed myself to have been able to lean on the Unleashed Theatre Company. It's been it's been an absolute legends place on these parts that you mentioned. It's just been so much fun. But it's behind the scenes where all that fun is, really. It's where, meeting with other people and, they're in recovery or
oh my goodness,
on their way to recovery. An absolute reminder.
Yeah. Well, mate, you have. I mean, just to be fair, you went slightly Dalek on us. We did like Star Wars a few weeks back. You went slightly sort of Dalek-y on us there with the old internet. But my goodness, you played the lead in black comedy. Weren't you brilliant in that? My goodness, you were in the first Under One Roof as a singer and doing lots of drama. You were in Under One Roof too. Yeah. You were also one of the mechanicals in the Millennium Mysteries. And then, incredibly, you were just an unbelievable performer in the Crossing the Switchblade. So, I mean, you really are one of our lead guys. And my goodness, what a talent you are. But I mean, what is so fantastic, Ed, like you just said, is that obviously, you haven't forgotten your roots. And, the wonderful work that you do and that God's led you into, working with, preventing kids from becoming homeless. You yourself, 10 years ago, you were for 10 years, of wilderness, how should we put it like that? I mean, do you want to just share a little bit about what that was and where you've come from?
Yes, from school age, I've kind of got in with the wrong crowd, which I don't always say. People call it the wrong crowd, but I don't call it the wrong crowd. I made some choices in my life that define my character, and I had a quite well-known character within that community. And it's still a community, which I love, and I love still being able to work with and connect with. And I never felt too distant from them. But yeah, I was, up to my neck in trouble, prison, and spending all my time running from the police, and tons of driving offences, working with some really dangerous people around the country. And sometimes it's easy to regret a lot of things. The more I look into that, the more I see that actually everything that happened contributes to what I do today, and everything I do today. None of it was wasted at all. There's seldom people that are ever sat in front of me where I can't say, I get where you're coming from. I mean, I don't necessarily understand what their experiences of it, but I certainly still, I'm still one of them. Do you know what I mean? I'll never forget the quarry that I'm chipped from, like you said. I'll never forget that. And I'll never be more than 2 inches away from it. And because, I think that's where I function. That's where I function best. And, would I go back to it? I don't think I would, because I think I can make more use out of that here, doing what I'm doing. Certainly managed to change a lot of people's perception of my character by changing my character. People say that I'm still the same person, and I vouch for that. I still very much am the same person that I was then. I'm just making different choices.
Yeah. And my goodness, I mean, but you are a bit of an inspiration to a lot of people, Ed, because, I mean, I know you don't want to go into it, but you were involved with a lot of really dark stuff. And you said that you described yourself for 10 years, you were like a career criminal, and we don't need to sort of focus on, what you got up to. But I think what is fantastic is, I know you as a really good mate, and I have to say, you know, you've got such a massive heart for people who are struggling with addiction, people who are homeless, you know, and, you know, I know where that comes from. What was the very thing that brought you to a point of wanting to change your life?
I think, you know, there were lots of different points during my journey as a criminal where, you know, where something was looking out for me, and someone was looking out for me and really making that difference. There were, you know, there were times where, you know, there was a moment, you know, for instance, where the police took me back to a burning wreckage on the M5, and they looked at this car was, you know, black and smoldered and small and all crunched up, and I walked away from that pretty much unscathed. And, you know, and they sat me down and said to me, so don't you think there is a God? That you have just crawled out of that is impossible. And there were lots of little things like that were going along as I went along. And it's not until you get to a certain point of desperacy to absolute destruction when I had absolutely nothing. No money, no home. I didn't know where I was. I lost my mind. I lost my mind so much I couldn't even go and find drugs. I didn't know where to get them anymore, just, you know, because I was that mad. It was at that point where I realized that I was probably at my richest, at my most fortunate. And then I realized that all of them different points had all come to one single conclusion, where I could either make a decision and recognize this and say, you know, this is actually something real. I'm going to start asking, you know, I'm going to start looking into it, you know, and finding more out about it, or go and carry on. And that's that one choice, that one single choice right there, where that can make the biggest difference in your life, where you reach this crossroads and go, am I going to carry on, or am I just going to go, okay, all right, okay, let's go with your plan? And I've gone with the plan. You know, I don't always know what the next step is, but I tell you what, it's the best thrills I've ever had in my life have been from doing this. You know, listening to this guy, you know, whoever he is, whatever it is, I don't profess to know. But what I do know is when you just give it a go, yeah, stuff works out. It really does.
Yeah. Well, mate, listen, it's wonderful. And, you know, you've got a lovely family now and a beautiful wife, and you're part of a great community of people who love you and respect you and look up to you. And, you know, you're one of the church wardens of Mary Mag's, which is the forefront of, I would say, churches that sort of reach out to the vulnerable and those on the edge. But, you know, I'll tell you something, I'm just so proud that you are such a big part of Unleashed, because, mate, I tell you, you know, you are such a great performer. Let's have a little chat about some of the parts you've done. What would you say was your most favouriteest moments on stage with Unleashed? I mean, there are loads to choose from. My goodness.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about that. One just keeps popping to mind, and it's got to be Black Comedy.
Yeah.
You know, it was just there's so much work went into the physical comedy of that. It was so much fun working with two different casts as well. But just knitting that whole thing together. And it was done in an intimate theatre as well, which was going to get very close to the audience. And there was a lot of sacrifice thing, you know, being spat on and thrown over chairs and kicked around all over the floor and stuff like that. You know, it was painful. But I tell you what, just done something like this before. We're taking such a big step into acting, and walking with these guys, you know, was a great thing to experience. My wife was one of them as well. Actually, she's one of the cast in them. Really great to work with her always, with everything I do. And some of my best friends, you know, I've just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But I mean, between Black Comedy and it's going to be Crossing the Switchblade, which has just been, you know, a huge journey where we've learned a lot about ourselves and how we portray ourselves in the community. And I think the contrast, as well as Black Comedy, didn't have a faith element to it, did it? It was very tongue-in-cheek, very naughty. We did have there was a little prayer in there somewhere, wasn't there?
The part of Brinsley, oh my goodness, it's a mega part. You're on stage the whole time, pretending to be in the dark, throwing yourself around. It's such a physical role, but you were unbelievable. But then, you know, in contrast, like you said, you know, Nikki Cruz,
what an amazing play. We spoke to David Robertson a couple of weeks ago, but your portrayal of it was so filled with such integrity, Ed. And I know that in a way you were perhaps reflecting on your old life, because my gosh, you were so scary. In Act 1, you were so scary, mate. I wouldn't want to cross you on a dark night. But it was such a great part, and you were absolutely.
It's funny, Mike. There was actually somebody in the audience who'd come down from London to watch that one, to come and see one of the other cast. And she was my next door neighbour back then, and she didn't recognise that it was me until I started shouting and kicking off. And she was like, she's like, "It's Ed!" And she comes to see me, to come and grab me outside. She's just like, "It's you!" Like, wow.
Really good.
But yeah.
Well, Guy, what have you got? Have you got something you just like to say to the lads? Because obviously, I mean, I look at you, mate, and I think where you've come from, your journey has been so interesting and so inspirational for a lot of people. What would you say to those guys who perhaps at the beginning of that, they're just gone into Jatis and they're coming off the drugs and they're struggling with addiction?
Yeah, one thing I really want to say is don't look at guys like me and think that I'm a million miles away from you. Like I said earlier, we can only be a few minutes away from our past. There's only one step to take, and if you're in the Jatis, you've taken that step, you've made a choice. If you're in the rooms, you've made a commitment to want to go in there, and that's a big step that I'm only just on the other side of. And the other thing I do want to say is, like, if Martin's put in your ear and he wants you to get out there and have a crack at it, but just do it. Do you know what? People aren't going to remember your faults or where you went wrong, where your line went wrong. It's worth the fun. It really is. Like, every single time, just do it. We've done madder things with our past. We've made more fools of ourselves. Just go for it. Back on it. You look back and you look back at a few shows on your shoulder and think, do you know what I mean? I've done this, and it's not the show; it's the people you've been there with.
Community.
I think a lot of them get that message.
Listen, Ed, thanks so much for joining us, mate. You are always such a joy to have around. You're the sort of guy who, it's just great to have around. And I just thank you for all that you've brought to Unleashed. All the experience, but also, your wisdom and your care for, guys around who are sort of on a similar journey. You're a lovely, caring guy, and I'm just so grateful that we've got you in the Unleashed family. So thanks, mate. I really appreciate you.
But we've all got to say that we love you too, Martin. You're the rock. I know they're thinking it. When they're watching this. Yeah, seriously. No, Martin, thank you, seriously, from all of us. I know I can speak for every one of us. We love you so much, and what you do is second to none. And you should be knighted, really, seriously.
Oh, I've already been knighted by Alexa a few weeks ago. I love you, mate. Listen, you take care.
All right, you take care, mate. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness, lovely Ed. Don't we just love him? Such a great bloke, such a great guy to have around. Really fab guy. Really good guy. And my goodness, he's done some amazing stuff. And I was just thinking this week. I did an interview with David Robertson, who asked me to do a thing for this thing called T for Two. You can actually see it on my Facebook page. I think I put it on the Unleashed as well. But what really struck me, just thinking about the stuff that we've done, is the number of really, talented actors that we've got behind us. We've got some real talent, seriously, I look at what we've done in the last year, with All the World's a Stage, the Winter Hymnal or the Winter Anthology, the Cross and Switchblade. My goodness, we have got some really talented guys in our group. It's really fab, and there's going to be lots more opportunity to do stuff when we come out. We talk about a big project we're doing next year. We've been approached by a big international conference who want us to do some stuff. So when we come out of lockdown, there is going to be loads of fab stuff for us to do. Now, just a heads up, next week we are going to be showing, because it would have been a year ago and it should have been this week, that we would have been doing our big I'm Still Standing addiction review at the Little Theatre, which is a bit sad really, because we were all working towards that and obviously it's been cancelled. So we're going to show All the World's a Stage next week as a live stream. So if you haven't seen that before, I tell you guys, you are in for a real treat. It's going to be absolutely fab. So that's going to be happening next week, which will be week 15. Can you believe it? Week 15. But what we're going to do, we're going to end now with a new thing which we're going to do every now and then, and I've called it Unleashed Wellbeing Corner. Unleashed Wellbeing Corner. If you look in your pack, you would have been given your Unleashed the Wellbeing Journal, and in here there's lots of really good things about just keeping your mind healthy, keeping your mental health healthy. But we thought it'd be really good to occasionally have someone drop in. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had Roz drop in and talk about forgiveness when we did the VE Day. And she dropped in yesterday to have a chat about this whole thing about rethinking and reevaluating, what are we going to learn from this time when we've been locked down? How are we going to do things different? How are we going to rethink the things that we could do better, that are going to be better for us? So did this yesterday, and this is lovely Roz Morrison. So let's go for this.
Okay, guys. Well, it's very nice this morning, in fact, to have with us the lovely Roz Morrison, who you all know, who obviously co-directed Cross the Switchblade. She's been involved with loads of Millennium Mysteries, and it's quite often there with Brian on a Thursday morning. And like we had Roz on a few weeks back when we were talking about forgiveness, because I don't know whether a lot of people know that Roz is actually a retired professional counsellor. So she brings to the club lots of expertise in the whole area of well-being and mental health, which is really fab. And so I thought it'd be absolutely brilliant to get Roz on every now and then to talk about perhaps some of the more practical things about, how to keep ourselves well, particularly concerned with mental health. And Roz, you were just saying that actually this week, the BBC have relaunched a week called Rethink. Do you just want to explain what that's about?
Yes, I happened to hear it on Monday, Martin. They've launched this whole week of Rethink across all their radio stations, where they are looking at what's gone before and what we think might come next after lockdown, and how its perspectives may have changed our thinking about how we behave, how we live, how we work, and what things are important to us. So I thought it's actually quite a relevant subject for all of us, actually.
Yeah, and I think also in this time of the great pause, it has given everybody opportunity to pause and perhaps reevaluate where they're at with their own mental health. And perhaps particularly, we were talking just last week about history and how history is being reinterpreted because of, the pulling down statues and the way in which, our black friends, have been treated, particularly in the light of George Floyd and the killing in America and all the protests that have been happening. But Roz, we were having a little chat earlier, and you were talking about particularly that very often in our past we can have stuff that keeps coming back, and yet actually it needs to be reinterpreted in a more positive way. Do you want to just sort of tell us what your thoughts were about that?
Yeah, I think all of us, Martin, when we've been alone or just with one other person or a few other people, all our thinking inevitably has turned a little bit more inward, because we've had time to reflect, we haven't been rushing around, we haven't been out and about. And so sometimes that thinking has led us back down old pathways, which may be very, very familiar, but not particularly helpful. And I remember not that long ago talking to a friend of mine. We were just driving along one day before lockdown, and something was said about art. And she said, "Oh, I'm rubbish at art." And I said, "Oh, well, whoever told you that?" And she said, "Oh, I was told it as a child." And that little pathway had stayed with her. And she was a woman of my age. And that little pathway had absolutely stayed with her. And I said, we need to think about that now. Is it still true? Was it ever true? And how has it affected your life all the way through? And actually, it had stopped her from even trying to do any sort of artwork, which I'm glad to say she's picking up now. But, you know, it just struck me, just a simple thing like that. And we know that there are bigger things in our lives. That's a small example. But there are bigger things in our lives which come back to us very powerfully, often as a voice in our head. And sometimes we have to ask, where did that voice come from?
Yeah.
Is it true now?
Yeah.
And how has it affected me negatively in the past? Can it be changed?
Yeah, I think that's so true, because I mean, I think with a lot of the guys in the club, myself particularly as well, you know, things from your childhood can actually hold you back, can actually have a massive hold over you. I think we underestimate the power of words, but particularly if there's been abuse or control or manipulation, that can actually stunt, if you like, our personal growth. How do you overcome that? If you know, we often talk about we're not defined by our past, but actually very often, like you said, people are held back by perhaps things that have been spoken into their lives, or things, you know, bad things that have happened to them in the past that they can't move on from.
I think, firstly, it's to acknowledge that it's even there. Because sometimes it's a bit like the cinders on a footpath. You keep walking the path, but you don't actually look at the path. What's it made up of? And there are things that have dropped so far back in our thinking that we don't realise that that's what we're acting upon. So first of all, time to reflect, as we have had, to think, is this thought a helpful thought to me now? Is it even true? That's the first test. Hold it up to the light. Is this thought even true? You know, I'm rubbish at whatever. Is that actually true? Do I know that to be a fact, or is it just that I've taken it as a fact when it had no substance? Mm. The other thing is with negative experiences, of course, things that happen in our childhood. The child's default setting is always, it must be my fault. Mm. If bad things happen in our childhood, children always decide in their young brain, this is my fault. They take on the responsibility. Often they'll take on the responsibility for what adults around them are doing and assume it's because of them. And again, it's needing a person or a trusted friend to look at that with and say, well, it was happening, but my conclusion may be the wrong conclusion. So looking realistically now through adult eyes, not trying to undo or say it doesn't matter, but to bring it into the present and look at it in our adult place. Yeah. And maybe say to our child, actually, you know, you were the child in this situation, not the adult. Yeah. And the adults must take responsibility for themselves. Yeah. Well, that's the first way to do it. The second way is to say, I'm not going to let this have a hold over me in the same way anymore, and make a decision, which a lot of people in recovery do. They say, I'm not going to be this person anymore. I don't want to live like this. So it's actually an active choice to say, I am not going to live like this. But we can't just do that by will alone. We do need good friends. We do need sometimes good counsellors to work with us and talk about those issues. Because I'm sure that in lockdown, and I don't just mean people in recovery, I mean all of us, we may have looked back, I certainly can look back at this time and think, there were a few little habits of mine which maybe weren't such a helpful thing to do. And I've had to look at them again and say, but that's because I've been here in the house, no one else to really see what's happening or doing. It's nothing terrible. I'm not coming out on something terrible. I'm just saying little things that are maybe not useful to me. Yeah. But because we're unseen in lockdown, it's easy to fall back into those ways, both in our living and also in our thinking. Yeah. So in rethinking for the future, saying, well, you know, what are the good things that were in my life before lockdown? What was positive? What was helpful? What was constructive? And what can I now see? Actually, I don't need that anymore. There are some things I don't need in my life anymore. Yeah. I know that folks coming to the club have often said, coming to the club is a highlight of the week because it's a positive. And, you know, watching this now being broadcast is a helpful way of keeping that contact and hopefully not too far in the future, we'll be able to meet again. But looking also around and saying, you know, are those relationships helpful? Are those friendships useful to me, or are they pulling me down?
Yeah.
So it's a great time to rethink, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just for
yeah.
you, me, and everybody else.
It is. No, Ros, that's really, really helpful. And I think what I'm getting from you is that obviously, actually, although, you know, we are not responsible for what's happened to us in the past, actually, we do have responsibility to actually perhaps move forward and come to a point of saying, I'm not going to let my past hold me back. When I was in my 30s, I had for many, many years felt a deep sense of rejection. And from my father, which went right back to when my father was absent during the first 3 years of my life, and it went right back to that. And I had to come to a point where I had proper counselling and actually had to just release any feelings of rejection, and I was able to move forward. And I think what I would encourage, and I think basically what you're saying, is this whole thing that actually, you know, there comes a time where you can say, no, I'm not going to be ruled by these negative feelings, these negative things that hold me back, and I'm going to deal with them. And that doesn't mean you have to have necessarily, big sort out with whoever it is who's, hurt you or whatever. But it does mean that actually you might need to get professional help and speak to someone who can lead you through the process of being able to move forward. Would you say that's right, Ros?
Yes, I think that's absolutely right, Martin. And also, not just letting go and I've been rereading the 12 steps because I was interested to see that. The forgiveness is part of that, which we touched on last time we talked. Forgiveness and forgiving oneself and others, finding a way out of the mazes that keep giving us this ever-decreasing circle feeling, and then replacing it with new things, with good things. The folks in the drama club, how many of them we said, look at the talent, look at that talent, just shining out and growing.
Yeah, totally.
There are new things, and, in our lives, new things to look forward to always, because they're the things that allow us to flourish and strengthen us. So I think, definitely getting help with things that may be holding us back, being honest with ourselves, and sometimes just not letting that old pattern of thinking sort of sit in the background, influencing our reactions and our thoughts. Because they can very easily be a bit subtle. And they do have a habit of just recurring every now and again. They never, things that have happened a long way back never tend to really disappear, but we can put them in a place that is not harmful to us.
Yeah. Well, Ros, that's really helpful. And can I just say, it's lovely having you here. We're going to probably see you every now and then, giving us these real nuggets of wisdom to help us on our way with our mental health. But thank you so much, Ros. It's so great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Martin. I love watching the programme too.
Oh, bless you. Take care.
Isn't
that great? I think it's such a good idea. Ros has got a lot of experience, and she's got a lot of experience in theatre as well. So those two combined, really fab. So guys, next week we are going to be celebrating All Worlds of Stage. So it was such a fantastic show last year, and it's really to mark the fact that actually this week there'll be more news about that coming up in the next few weeks. But guys, in the meantime, look at that, we're dead on 12 o'clock. This is fab, isn't it? So thank you, Ros. Thank you, Ed. So good to hear Ed's story. Wasn't it great to hear Ed's story? Thank you, Mark. Thank you for Calvin. Thank you all, guys. I'm going to try in 2 weeks' time to try and get as many people on Zoom as possible. I was a bit amiss this week. I left it a bit too late. People were doing other things. But guys, really want you to really want you to engage with this. Really want you to sort of feel that you are supported. We are here. I know it's not the same. I know it's tough. I know a lot of you have struggled. But guys, we're here on the end of the phone. Seriously, you can ring Calvin, Josie, Margie, myself, literally anytime we're here, and we just want to support you and be here for you. Just love the big Unleashed family and Unleashed community drama. What a fab group of people. What a fab group of talented people. So guys, the great thing is that Boris is gradually easing the lockdown. I'm getting to see my son this week. Haven't seen him for 4 months. So, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. All the way from London. He's been a COVID nurse up in London, so they're coming to see us, which is going to be so good. So, guys, love you all, and have a great week, and stay positive, stay in touch, and we'll see you for more fun and frolics next week. Take care.